welcome to all of you. Student, in the earlier video, we studied that how Mrs. Yes daughters went back to the Mrs. Darling's house, and when she saw that Mrs. Darling is not recognized her, she decided to come back. Now on the way, she was thinking about her mother, what how her mother had introduced her with Mrs. Darling. Now let's see what is going in this paragraph. My mother seemed to notice that I was not entirely convinced. She looked at me reprovingly, and after that, we spoke no more about it. Meanwhile, I had arrived at the station without having paid much attention to things on the way. I was walking in familiar places again for the first time since the war, but I did not want to go further than was necessary. I didn't want to upset myself with the sight of streets and houses full of memories from a previous time. In the train back, I saw Mrs. Dawlings in front of me again, as I had not first time I met her. It was the morning after the day my mother had told me about her. I had got up late, and coming downstairs I saw my mother about to see someone out. A woman with a broad back. There is my daughter, said my mother. She beckoned to me. The woman nodded and picked up the suitcase under the coat rack. She wore a brown coat and shapeless hat. Does she live far away? I asked. Seeing the difficulties she had going out of the house with the heavy case in Marconi Street, said my mother, number 46, remember that. So student, the words that is given in the paragraph, like reprovingly means critically. Next is vacant means singled. So her mother noticed Mrs. Yers noticed that she wasn't convinced and looked at her critically. Means Mrs. S saw that her daughter is not convinced very well, and in fact she was looking at the lady very critically and very separate way. After that they never talked about the incident again. She reached the station without noticing any details on the way. She passed the familiar things after the war of the first time. She did not want to upset herself with the familiar sights of house and streets that reminded her of all the precious time. Back in the time she saw Mrs. Darling in the person a day after her mother told her daughters about her. She woke up late that morning and she was going downstairs. She saw her, the lady with broad back. Her mother was seeing her out. Her mother introduced the protagonist to the lady. She cited to her and the woman responded with a nod. She picked the suitcase under the coat rack. She was wearing a brown coat and a shapeless hat. The protagonist asked her mother if she lived far away. The mother told her the address, Marconi Street, number 46. She remembered it. Now I had remembered it, but I had waited long time to go there. Initially, after the liberation, I was absolutely not interested in all that stored stuff, and naturally, I was also rather afraid of it. Afraid of being confronted with things that had belonged to a connection that no longer existed, which were hidden away in cupboards and boxes and waiting in vain until they were put back in their places again, which had endured all those years because they were things. But gradually everything became more normal again. Bread was getting to be lighter color. There was a bed you could sleep in unthreatened, a room with with a view you were more used to glanced at each day. And one day I noticed I was curious about all the possessions that must still be at the address. I wanted to see them, touch, remember. After my first visit in vain to Mrs. Darling's house, I decided to try a second time. Now a girl of about 15 opened the door after me. I asked her if her mother was at home. No, she said, my mother is doing an errand. No matter, I said, I will wait for her. So, student, the word that is given is liberation means liberty, या freeing something. Endured, suffered. Vain means hopeless, disappointed. So the lady of, yeah, you can say the daughter of Mrs. S remembered the address, but she took too long to visit the place. After the freedom, she was on one hand not interested, and on the other was afraid. So she was afraid of getting confronted with the past memories and connection that no longer existed. Connection were hidden in cupboards and boxes. It seemed that those memories were waiting in vain to put them back to their places as they had suffered all these years because they were only things. Things were getting normal in the protagonist's life, but one day she got curious about all the things that were still at that address. She wanted to see them and touch them. After the first hopeless visit, she decided to try one more time. When she reached Mrs. Morling's home, a girl of uh, 15 years opened the door. Protagonist asked her about her mother. She told her that she was outside doing some errands, to which the protagonist decided that she would wait for her. I followed the girl along the passage. An old fashioned iron hankish first candle holder hung next to a mirror. We never used it because it was much more cumbersome than a single candlestick. Won't you sit back? Asked the girl. She held open the door of the living room and I went inside past her. I stooped, horrified. I was in a room I knew and did not know. I found myself in the midst of the things I did not want to see again, but which oppressed me in the strange atmosphere, yeah, because of the tasteless way. Everything was arranged because of the ugly furniture, yeah, the muggy smell that hung there. I did not know, but I scarcely dared to look around me. The girl moved a chair. I sat down and stared at the woolen tablecloth. I rubbed it. My fingers grew warm from rubbing. I following I followed the lines of the pattern. Somewhere on the edge there should be a burn mark that had never been repaired. My mother's will be back soon, said the girl. I've already made tea for her. Will you have a cup? Thank you. So, student, the words given here, Hankus miss the feast of light, Yam Hebrew festival in December. Next is cumbersome miss, unmanageable. Next is middle, muggy miss, humid. So the protagonist, yeah, you can say the daughter of Mrs. S, followed the girl along the passage. There was a Hankush candle holder hung next to a mirror. She remembered that she never used it as it was unmanageable. The girl asked her to sit down as she opened the door for the living room. She stopped and she was disturbed. She was standing in a room which she knew and she didn't. She was standing in the middle of the things which she did not want to see, and they burdened her. Maybe because of the way things were arranged, yeah, the humid smell in the room, yeah, the ugly furniture. She was scared to look at everything. She sat down on a chair which the girl pulled out for her. She looked at the woolen tablecloth. She rubbed it, and her finger felt warm. As she followed the lines of pattern, she remembered a burn mark that was never repaired. The girl told her that her mother would be back soon and asked if she would like to have a cup of tea. She answered that thanked. Means the lady, yeah, you can say the daughter of Mrs. S ignored to have tea because she was memorized the her childhood's memories, and she was not feeling easy. In fact, she was feeling suffocation because she has confronted to the belongings that was taken away by Mrs. Darling. I looked up. The girl put cups ready on the tea table. She had a broad bag just like her mother. She poured the tea from a white pot. All it had was a gold border on the lid. I remembered she opened a box and took some spoons out. That's a night box. I heard my own voice. It was a strange voice, as though each sound was different in this room. Oh, you know about them. She had turned it round and brought me my tea. She laughed. My mother say it is antique. We have got lots more. She pointed round the room. See for yourself. I had no need to follow her hand. I knew which things she meant. I just looked at the still life over the tea table. As a child, I had always fancied the apple of the pewter plate I used is for everything, she said. Once we even ate off the plates hanging there on the wall. I wanted to such so much, but it wasn't anything special. I had found the burn mark on the tablecloth. The girl looked questioningly at me. Pivot a plate made of a grey alloy of tin. So the protagonist, yeah, the daughter of Mrs. S, looked up. She saw the girl put two cups of tea in front of her. Means the daughter of Mrs. Darling presented two cup of tea to this lady. She had a broad back just like her mother. She poured tea from the teapot and it had a gold border on the lid. She opened the box and took some spoons out of it. The protagonist complimented the girl about the box. She felt weird hearing her own voice. It was sounding different to her. As the girl turned to give her a cup, she asked if she knew about the box. Then the girl added that it is antique according to her mother. She pointed around the room and said that there are more. She told her to see, although the protagonist did not need to follow her direction. She knew what she was talking about. She glanced over the tea table. She remembered how she used to fancy the apple of the pewter table plate. The girl said that they used the plate for everything. Once they ate off the plates that were hanging on the wall, the girl wanted to eat off the plate too, but it wasn't anything special. The protagonist found the burn mark on the tablecloth. The girl looked at her in a question. So, yes, I said, I get so used to touching all these lovely things in the house. You hardly look at them anymore. You only notice when something is missing because it has to be repaired, yeah, because you have lent it, for example. Again, I heard the unnatural sound of my voice and I went on. I remember my mother's one asked me if I would help her polish the silver. It was a very long time ago and I was probably bored that day. Yeah, perhaps I had to stay at home because I was ill. As she had never asked me before, I asked her which silver she meant, and she replied, surprised, that it was the spoons, fork, and knives. Of course, and that was the strange things. I didn't know the cutlery we ate of every day was silver. The girl laughed again. I bet you don't know it is either. I looked intensely at her. What we ate with? She asked her. Well, do you know? She hesitated. She walked to the sideboard and wanted to open a drawer. I will look at it. It's here. Means the protagonist said yes and told her that when you were so used to touching things into your house, you hardly notice anything. You only notice when something is missing, yeah, it needs to be repaired, yeah, because you have to lend it. She again found her voice to be unnatural. She continued, she told the girl that once her mother asked her if she would help her polish the silver. It was a long time ago and she was bored that day. She had to stay that day, maybe as she was ill. She asked her mother what silver she is talking about. Her mother said it was the spoon, knives, and fork, but she did not know that it was silver. The girl laughed and said that she bet she did not know it was either white what they ate with. The protagonist asked if she knew. The girl hesitated and walked to the sideboard and opened a drawer. She said she would see if it was there. I jumped up. I was forgetting that time. I must catch my train. She had her hand on the drawers. Don't you want to wait for my mother? No, I must go. I walked to the door. The girl pulled the drawers open. I can find my way on. As I walked down the passage, I heard the jingling of the spoons and fork at the corner of the road. I looked up at the nameplate, Marconi Street. It said I had been at number 46. The address was correct, but now I did not want to remember it anymore. I would not go back there because the objects that are linked in your memory with the family's life of former time instantly lost their value when surveyed from them. You see them again in the strange surroundings. Now, what should I have done with them in a small rented room where the sets of blackout paper still hung along with the windows and no more than a handful of cutlery fitted in the narrow table drawers? I resolved to forget the address of all the things I had to forget. That would be the easiest. So, student, the daughter of Mrs. S, yeah, you can say the protagonist of the story, jumped and said she forget the time as she had to catch the train. Means she was. The girl asked her if she did not want to wait for her mother. The protagonist still replied with a no and said she must leave. The girl pulled the drawers open. The protagonist said she could find her way out and walked down the passage as she heard the ringing spoon of spoons and fork. When she reached the corner of the road, she looked at the nameplate again. It said Marconi Street and she was standing at 46. The address was correct, but she does not want to remember it anymore. She did not want to go back as the things in there reminded her of memories linked with the family's life of old time, but they lost the value when you are separated from them and you see them again in a strange environment. She thought of what she would have done with a small rented room where black out paper hung over the window and no cutlery fitted in the narrow drawers. She finally resolved on forgetting the address as it would be the easiest. So, student, this is the lesson second, the address. Now, read and revise this lesson.